All right, new for you this morning, we continue to follow some developing news in Albuquerque. Police are still at what looks like a shooting near Kit Carson Park. This is going to be out near Alcalde Place and Escalante, right across Tingley Drive from where Tingley Beach is. They have blocked off several streets in the area. Tingley Drive is open. However, the area around the park is definitely a place you want to avoid this morning, Liz.
One man was shot and taken to the hospital. That's what police tell us. His identity right now unknown. Police say that the man had a gunshot wound to the head and is in surgery. Now, cops also say that someone was seen carrying a rifle. Apparently, that person fled the area. No word yet on whether the shooter has been arrested. But again, police are still on scene and searching the neighborhood. We're going to continue to keep you updated with any information as we get it. Remember, you can always get the very latest online at KRQE.com.
Well, the 911 call of a 10-year-old boy here confessing to killing his own father will not be allowed during his murder trial. State Appeals Court tossed the key piece of evidence in the Benjamin Hilburn case yesterday. In 2009, prosecutors say Hilburn shot his father in the back of the head. Hilburn told the 911 dispatcher it was because his dad was too strict. His trial has repeatedly been delayed because of issues with his age, evidence, and witnesses. The district attorney is now considering an appeal to the Supreme Court.
Other rehabilitation methods have to be used with this child in order to prevent it from happening to the mother, to another child, to another family member.
Benjamin Hilburn's lawyers argues that now, if the 911 calls cannot be used, there is little evidence in the case and it flat out should be dropped. Well, the woman accused of kidnapping her own children and keeping them overseas nearly 20 years ago looks like she will not go to prison.
We don't have any comment yet. This case isn't over yet.
Back in 1995, Ilene Clarke took her children, then 2, 5, and 7, from their home in Placitas after her husband asked for a divorce. They went on the run and were not found until 2008 in London. John Clarke says he still hasn't spoken to his own kids and hopes to build a relationship with them again.
It was really never about her spending 1 day or 3 years in prison. It was about my kids. It was about me finding my kids, being reunited with my children. It was never about vengeance. It was never about going after her.
Ilene Clarke will have to pay restitution and serve a year of unsupervised probation. Another judge still has to approve this deal from yesterday.
An Albuquerque man charged with beating an elderly man to death is on house arrest while he awaits trial. Police arrested 5 suspects in all, including 25-year-old Philip Martin. Martin is accused of killing 65-year-old Richard Zarte, stealing from him and using his credit card. Now, Martin has about 31 counts against him. He is being held on a $100,000 cash-only bond. At least that was until this week. A district court judge put him on house arrest with an ankle monitor instead.
65-year-old man beating him to death with his hands, punching him in the face, punching him in the gut, kicking him in the gut, and then letting him out free. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Martin's attorney says her client had nothing to do with the murder and only went to the home to help a couple who was moving out and get their stuff.
Well, an elderly man is thankful a Good Samaritan found paperwork blowing down a street with his very personal information on it. Ashley Jones found 9 medical documents in her yard and blowing down Candelaria near Louisiana here in Albuquerque. The papers have the name, address, social security information, medical treatment, and payment information for Luciano Gallegos. It was part of a workers' comp claim. That agency says all its files are electronic and all paperwork is shredded right away. So on special assignment, Kim Holland tracked down Gallegos, who suspects his attorney is responsible. That attorney's office is right where the neighbor found the papers.
What did you say it was?
Louisiana?
That's his office on Louisiana.
And Candelaria.
Yep, that's his office.
I shouldn't have this information and nobody else should have this information. It should be confidential. It shouldn't be out there for the world to see.
So why does Gallegos think his attorney may have done this? We have that answer, and we also have Kim Holland confronting the attorney himself. You can see the full story tonight at 9 o'clock on 2 Casa, or check it out anytime at KRQE.com.
Officials in New York are now dealing with its first case of Ebola. A doctor who returned home after treating Ebola patients in West Africa has now tested positive for the virus. Dr. Craig Spencer was taken to Bellevue Hospital in Manhattan yesterday. Health officials are taking extra precaution and are wearing full body protection as they transferred him to an isolation unit. The city's mayor urged residents to remain calm. Health officials say he was not contagious since he returned. The patient visited a restaurant, even went bowling in Brooklyn the night before he was actually diagnosed. Two of his friends and his fiance are now being monitored.
All three of these contacts are healthy and are being quarantined.
The CDC has sent an Ebola response team to help doctors there treat Spencer. Those being quarantined will be monitored for 21 days. Meanwhile, back here in New Mexico, administrators at a Portales hospital aren't taking any chances when it comes to Ebola. Officials at Roosevelt General Hospital will begin pre-screening patients and visitors for Ebola at a parking lot checkpoint. This is interesting, and this is actually despite New Mexico's top health officials saying that the risk of Ebola here in the state is low. Hospital officials say they will begin pre-screening starting today. American doctor Kent Brantley, who was infected with Ebola while working as a missionary in Liberia, now says he thinks he got the virus while treating patients in an emergency room there. Brantley was flown back here to the U.S. and was successfully treated with the help of an experimental drug called ZMapp.
I did have a very dramatic response to the ZMapp. My condition stabilized. I was incredibly sick. I mean, I was on the verge of death. My condition stabilized. My strength improved for about 36 or 48 hours. And I was able to get up and walk around and do things I hadn't done for a day or two.
He is now calling on the international community to do more in the fight against the deadly virus.
All right. So happy he's doing well. He looks pretty good.
Yeah, he
considering
does.
everything
He
had
really
been
does.
through.